When I first started working here, I would have never guessed that air goes through plastic. Basically, your black and white top layer of plastic is more so preventing rainwater from going through, and it's kind of like your strong layer in your stack of plastic here. So what an oxygen barrier does is it's going to lay against the pile. It's going to act like a saran wrap that basically clings down and creates a tight seal. One of the biggest things with walls is the idea that you're going to take and you're going to mound the feed inside of the bunk. Ideally, walls were actually made to where you make a concave area of feed so the water would run to the center and out of your bunk. But everyone has got this idea in their head that they can mound in between their walls as high as possible. Now, with that being said, all that rainwater on top of the pile runs to the edges. And when it gets to the edge, by having some type of plastic going down the walls, it prevents that water from basically sitting along that feed the whole way down. The black and white cover usually doesn't have much for an OTR rating or oxygen transfer rating, so it's not going to act like that oxygen barrier like we talked about before. Uniquely to us, for our Visser Holland brand does provide a very low OTR rating, which is kind of unique in the market. By providing an oxygen barrier with a low OTR rating and our black and white cover, it really does help cut down that oxygen transfer rating, which the oxygen, once again, is where you're going to see that spoilage. So having a strong plastic, not necessarily thick plastic, but a strong plastic is going to be what you're looking for in a black and white plastic. In today's industry, what we're learning is that you can make thinner plastics be a lot stronger. So the old guys, I'm going to say, they always wanted to have the thickest plastic possible, where in today's day and age, our Visser Holland brand is a 5.5 mil, and I'll put it up against a lot of 8 mils out there just because it's very strong with the technology that's in the plastic. The more weight on top of the pile holding down the plastic is going to, once again, save on your feed quality. So ideally what you're going to do is have tire-to-tire coverage on your whole pile. Now, obviously the bottoms of the pile is not too bad. You can get the tires right where they need to be and be able to get that tire-to-tire coverage. Now, when you start getting up on top of the pile, let's just say you have a 60-foot wide sheet of plastic. How are you going to reach across that 60-foot wide sheet of plastic? What a tire shooter is going to do is get it as absolutely close to possible as where you need to put those sidewalls. So instead of having to carry them 20 feet, you can maybe carry them in a 10-foot radius versus carrying them up the pile 20 feet or 30 feet. A lot of these piles are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, so the name of the game is just getting the tires as close as possible to not have to do the manual labor. We do demos on that stuff, and what I always like to say is ask the guys on the pile what their opinion is. They're usually very happy with these items because it does take away a lot of the labor. Pre-season plastic orders, I should say, is something that's really became more prevalent in the last several years. It really changes every year, not knowing what the price of plastic is going to do. By pre-ordering, it does give us more of a lock-in on a price. And so we are able to hand those savings down to our farmers. Prime example is last year, one of our vendors, their price from pre-season to in-season jumped 25%. And I'm not saying that that happens every year with every vendor, but that was just a prime example of the farmers that did pre-order, they saved 25%, and that was just on the plastic pricing that we get compared to what we can hand to them. Not even that you have to pay for it ahead of time or that you have to take it ahead of time, but just letting us know what you need ahead of time is super important for not only us, but also for the farmers because of the money savings that's possible there. So we do have a website, MidwestSidewalls.com. It's going to basically have our number and all of our products that we have on there. Our main number here, 715-613-5051. By covering your pile, it helps to prevent basically spoilage and give you that best feed quality as possible. Spoilage also really reduces the amount of silage that you have in a bunk. So it's amazing to see how much covering a pile can prevent the spoilage if done correctly. Certain animals can tolerate a little bit more spoilage or spoiled feed, but especially with the dairy cows, it's very important to have a stable diet for them. That's where you do see any type of spoilage can really affect the production of milk.